ladies and gentlemen, to another live stream from In the Black. We're going to talk about the bloodbath that I believe most people who are invested in the Reddit stocks took today. It was not a pretty day. I think a lot of us were hoping we will bounce back from yesterday's bloodbath, but obviously it did not go that way. As we dive deep into today's journey, I'm Mike. Troy's up there in the upper left-hand corner, and we both have positions in AMC. I have a few positions in GameStonks. It was a rough day. It was a rough day, and I really was hoping for a positive day today. I was really hoping that we would capture back some of the momentum. Didn't work that way, Troy. It didn't work that way.
No, it didn't. We brought it up yesterday. We talked about how the market's not open, it's not free. They were still had limits and restrictions on purchasing and the impact that it was going to have. I suspect that a lot of people were going to fold up somewhere between paper and diamond. Definitely not close to diamond hands. So because some people weathered the storm of the weekend, and I imagine some people were just looking to punch out with any profits in fear of everything falling. And to be clear, especially with GameStop, it's not going to go to zero. And same thing with AMC. We're at $7.82 right now, and AMC definitely a fall of 41% over the last day. GameStop is down 60%. GameStop, of course, took the biggest beating because it was so much higher in its price. But for me, I'm still hanging on through all of this. I haven't surrendered, especially now AMC. I was late to the GameStop rally, and for AMC, I definitely have plenty of shares. I actually bought some more today, Mike. I bought some more when it dipped. Bought an additional 200 shares. I'm dollar cost averaging to get my average cost of all of my shares down because it had dipped some. As a result of me bringing my average cost of shares down, it's down to around $10.40 through my 600 shares that I own. So I'm only looking for us to get to $10.50 just to have any profit at all. If we can get back to $11 or anywhere near close to where it was last week, I'll be doing pretty good.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I dollar cost average down to bring down my average cost per share. And I when I got in last Thursday, right as the beginning, the end of pre-market, right before it opened, and I got in at $18 for about 300 shares. I had the dollar cost average down today. I bought another 200 shares, so now I have a total of 500 shares in the stock, and it lowered my dollar cost average to what I have here, $14.37. It's I wanted to get it lower, but when I dollar cost average, I felt like I dollar cost average at its peak for the day almost. It's been rough. It's been rough trying to get it. Try to lower my cost per share basis. It's been a wild ride. I'm pulling up my screen. You can see still have my stuff in Robinhood. Still in the process of moving that over. But as you can see, I have a total return on my stocks at a loss of $3,227. I'm down 44.9%. Definitely taking a mean L there. Then if you go down and look, I have some options, and you can see that my options return is another loss of $2,126, down 51.59%. This is single-handedly the worst L I've ever taken in any investment. It's pretty rough. So altogether, I'm down about 5,400 and something. But I'm still hoping. I still have hope. Now, if you look at AMC and look at the chart for AMC, now I'm about to type in GME.
I got
right
GMC up there for you, but go ahead.
Yeah. So look how similar these two charts are.
Yeah, they almost made the
Look,
exact same dip, hitting a bottom of
yeah,
10:50 a.m. and 10:50 a.m. exactly on both of them.
exactly. This tells me that this is not your average retail investor. This tells me that there's still massive market
This
manipulation
is
going on.
institutional
Yeah,
for them both to hit their absolute bottom of the day at the exact same time. It's one thing for
exactly.
the shapes to match in their chart, but the exact same time at 10:50 in both stocks, they hit their absolute rock bottom.
It is astounding how similar this is. And people have been theorizing that this is a short ladder attack, which would be illegal because it'll be two or more institutions conspiring to keep selling each other the stock at a lower and lower price to drive down the price. And it's weird because there's still a lot of buy volume there, but the pressure downward is tremendous. And if they are doing a short ladder attack, that's highly illegal. To me, when you just look at these two stocks side by side, it's like, at what point is the SEC going to step in and do an investigation, open up an investigation? Because it's clear as day that these two stocks are being manipulated. That there's people are usually in GameStop or AMC. It's rare that people have large positions in both, right? You'll see people that are AMC evangelists and you'll see people that are GameStop evangelists, but you won't see people that have a lot of positions in both, enough to make the charts move the exact same way, right? The exact same way. There's no way other than a coordinated selling effort, short selling effort, on the institution side. This is not users, your average day retail investors selling these stocks to make these two patterns match up like
Exactly. And
this.
every regular person didn't also sell at the exact same time to move the
Same
entire
time.
chart at 10:50 a.m. this morning.
So that actually strengthened my resolve a little bit and made me want to hold on for longer. I said I was going to hold on throughout the week and through Friday and reevaluate things on Monday. But now I'm just looking at this. It's making me really upset and angry that it seems that only retail investors are the ones that are noticing this. Uh, I don't know what they have to do. I don't know what these hedge funds have to do and market makers have to do in order for the SEC to launch an official investigation. The only thing you see is that they're looking into it, they're watching the situation. I need a formal investigation of not only these hedge funds but also of these brokerages. Because today we still had limits. I remember when I first wanted the dollar cost average down, there was a limit. I could only buy 50 shares of AMC and had to wait later into the day because today we still had limits at that. I'm like, why are we still having these limits? According to news articles, Robinhood got another $3 billion over the weekend. So why are we still having these limits? Why are you still artificially suppressing the stock price of the stock by only allowing so much buying, but allowing unlimited selling? It's criminal. It's really criminal, and it really pisses me off. I remember when the day first opened, I saw a lot of traffic about Cash App. You weren't able to buy on Cash App. You weren't able to buy on all these different brokerages and ways to buy this stock. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating to see. I don't like it. It stinks to high heaven. And it's really one of those things that I'm trying to, be wise about. I don't want to get too emotionally invested because that's when you make mistakes. But this really pissed me off.
No, and as it should. And for those who are just joining us, what we're talking about here is if you take a look, obviously everybody's been very excited about AMC. You can see AMC up here in the top right corner. And if you look at this chart shape, it matches GameStop's shape of its chart. And that's usually not just enough, but there's one thing I want to highlight. Absolute rock bottom in AMC shares was 10:50 a.m. Absolute rock bottom in GameStop shares was 10:50 a.m. So either A, we're seeing large institutional influence on the shares of these stocks, or B, it's just an absolute convenience. Apparently, everybody on Robinhood, which we're holding, the regular people holding stock, apparently everybody out there just so happens to sell at the exact same time all their shares of both stocks. Quite a coinky dink, don't you think?
Yeah, it's it reeks to high heaven. It reeks of collusion and insider trading. It reeks of a coordinated effort to beat down the so-called retail investor, your average Joe. And I think that it really needs to be looked into. I think these hedge funds, I think these market makers and these brokerages, they can say all they want that they're not in cahoots till they're blue in the face, but I mean the evidence keeps mounting up every time you look at it, and it's like they'll be damned if the retail investors can get one solid win. You know, they won't. Out of all the securities that they trade back and forth to each other all day long, shorting this, shorting that, they're making the riskiest, most speculative trades they can make. This is the one time where the retail investor found a way to play the game and use the rules to their advantage. And they're coming together. They assemble like Voltron to stomp us out. And it's like I said, it strengthened my resolve to really hold on. I say my diamond hands they're starting to turn to adamantium. I'm getting like Wolverine, I'm getting pissed off. And I think everybody should be too. And I think if you are, we're not financial advisors. We can't tell you what to do or where to buy your money. We're just telling you our takes on things and what we're thinking and what our opinions are and things we're probably going to do. But I'm hope. It makes me want to hold, and I feel like a lot of people when they see the clear manipulation, I see there's two sentiments. One, f these guys. We're going to hold. We're going to show them that we don't have weak paper hands, and we're going to take it to the man. And then you have the other sentiment. Some people are just feeling defeated. They're saying like, the big guys won, the big money won. Like
Some
they
people
always
have already
win.
thrown in their towel.
Some people have thrown in their towel. But I think there are still a significant amount of people that are still in this, and they can only do this short ladder game for so long before it becomes obvious the stock just can't be reflective of the stock price, because you still have people trying to buy. You still see positive volume and positive buying volume. It's only a matter of time, so they can't do it forever. But they're trying to do it now to scare people off, especially these market makers. I'm not even talking about the short sellers. I'm talking about the market makers who are sold these call options. You have huge volume of call options at the $15 level and at the $20 level, and that's specifically the $40 level. We're not going to inspire this Friday. Highly unlikely we make it to 40. But the first domino is knocking down that $15 mark. Once that $15 mark falls, the rest could fall. It could create a domino reaction, and you'll have the market makers scrambling, buying up hundreds of shares at a time to cover these calls. And I feel like because of the volume of calls and all the volatility, that they're really trying to make sure that does not happen. I think we are definitely in uncharted territories. It's hard to look back at anything for a past example of what's going on right now. We are making history. We are the trendsetters in this movement. If you have even one share, you are in this movement, and we're making history one way or the other. When they make this documentary, you can at least look back and say, "Hey, I was part of that." They screwed us over, or hey, we won and we came out on top eventually. But the ending is still being written out. I don't want people to think the ending is today. I think there's still a fight to happen this week. It's hard for me to see that AMC retreats much more this week, but it could. I don't know. But it's hard for me to really see that. And it's also, I'm seeing that AMC has put out announcements saying that they're really opening up a lot of their theaters. So I think that should be positive pressure pushing the stock price upwards, that they're getting ready to open up their theaters and getting ready to, start welcoming the public. They say they're going to do it in a safe manner and try to make it so, that They are still social distancing, do all the things they're supposed to do. But it sounds like they have a plan and a plan to open things back up and to ramp things back up as people get vaccinated more and more. So they have an idea of what to do. Um, I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. I think
Not
there's
quite
still some
yet.
fight left. I think it looks down. We're down in the fourth. We need Kobe or MJ or LeBron to come off the bench and do something special. But I think it could happen. Uh, Troy, I wanted to ask you one thing. Were you able to see Mark Cuban's comments from the AMA that he had on Reddit today? Um,
Today, no, I didn't get a chance to get
so
it out. Now I can pull that up though.
Yeah, pull that up because he went on Mark Cuban. Everybody knows he's a billionaire investor, very successful businessman, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he has really been behind the average Joe for this movement. He has been pro the movement. He's been pro sticking to the big money in the hedge funds. He said he hates shorts. He said people used to short his companies all the time, and he doesn't like it. And he also doesn't like the SEC because what he said essentially was the SEC is a bunch of lawyers that look out for each other. Tie
Hmm.
things up in litigation, but the worst thing to ever come out is a fine. And you never get your money back. You never as the person that has been hurt by the actions of these big hedge funds, you never get any kind of restitution, and that's the
One of
big
the
problem.
punishing things a lot of people don't understand about the SEC is so like if the FBI investigates you and they find that you've done something wrong, they're not offering fines as a form of punishment. The SEC, however, is civil. Everything they do and engage in is civil, and it's why people are able to, just simply pay it. It doesn't matter if you catch it; you can pay a fine and get out of it. I'll give you a prime example. I used to stay at a hotel in D.C., Washington D.C., and daily parking was about $35 a day. Well, I realized that if I just parked on the street, the parking ticket was $35, and there's a high chance they don't catch you. And I can stay for a week long in that hotel, and only once did I ever get a ticket. I got one ticket over staying weeks and weeks and weeks in total of various time periods at the hotel. Sure, I'll pay $35. I parked on that street for free, Mike. Like, and
Yeah,
that's very much how Wall Street, these hedge funds, they for lack of a better term, they wipe themselves with the SEC. They don't care.
yeah,
Former SEC people come right out of them, and they hire them in their compliance division. They know their old buddies. They know how to play the game, and they know how to skirt the system. They walk right up to and put their toes right on that line, and they don't care. So absolutely, they'll be able to abuse the SEC. For as far as Mark Cuban's comments, I now pull up the article here from Bloomberg, and he talks about it. Long story short, he tells them to hold if you can afford to, and he predicts that the funds will try to short the stock again.
and I believe that. I mean, these funds they took a shellacking. They're going to open up more short positions. They want to scare you off first, right? They need to scare you out of the stock, show you that this did not work, so they can once again open up these short
Hmm.
positions and hope for these companies to fail. I think the best thing, if you're a part of this movement, this is money that you're not willing, that you don't need as an investment. It could, with any investment, it evaporate to zero, it can go down to zero. But if this is money you don't need right now, then I would say
Which is
stay.
what you should be investing with. You should be investing with money that you can only afford to lose.
Yeah,
Therefore, it allows you to make some wise decisions, such as holding throughout this dip.
yeah, and I mean you got to look at it. Even with I think the case for AMC is particularly strong because movie theaters ain't going nowhere. When it opens up, people are going to want to flood back to movies. You had a backlog of movies that want to be released out on the big screen, but just haven't been able to because of the pandemic. So once this stuff and once more people get vaccinated and the Biden administration, not getting political, but they're ramping up their efforts. They're trying to put more legislation in to really up the vaccine and how many people get vaccinated, whether you get one or not. Just getting that out there and bringing down the fears and concerns of coronavirus will really allow people to get back in theaters. And I mean, a movie ticket was what $8, $9, $12, whatever, depends on the time you go. I mean, this stock is undervalued. I mean, AMC to me is more than $1 billion company, right? So many people go to the movie theaters all the time. They spend money there. You take dates there. You bring your kids and you take them to see Frozen 2 or whatever. It's a whole experience that's not going away. If anything, this highlighted that the fact that people miss the movies and they want to go back. They can't wait to go back to the movies. So beyond all of this, AMC has a use case. It has a business that they have a good market share of. They just got hit hard by the pandemic. I mean, they were one of the hardest hit. I mean, you could still order, food from restaurants if you go to pick it up. I mean, AMC, like you said, the other stream, Troy, their CEO said that overnight their revenue went to zero because of the pandemic. But now we have a new year on the horizon. We have the fact that this pandemic and things should get better as vaccines roll out, and we should see them really open up and really start making some profits. And you're going to see movies flying off the shelves from all these production companies trying to get their stuff in theaters because they're just sitting on the shelf and it's not making them money. It's burning a hole in their pocket. They need to get it out there. So you're going to see a lot of content being put out. That's what I believe. So that's, for me, even right now, I think AMC is beyond the $10 stock just because of the fact of what it will be once this pandemic is over. So if I have to hold it for that long of a time, I will. But I think in the short term, I think this has been a coordinated attack along with GameStop. And I think that once we really, push through this initial downward pressure from this coordinated attack or the short ladder attack, whatever they're doing, if they're trading, selling stocks that don't own, whatever the case may be, we're going to figure out a chink in the armor pretty soon. And I think both stocks will be able to push through. Mind you, like I said, we're in uncharted territory. You can't use traditional technical analysis on this. You can't use traditional fundamentals. This is uncharted territory. We're the pioneers on the forefront. And you gotta have a little bit of, you gotta let them hang a little bit. You gotta have a little testicular fortitude because we don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of fear. And like I said, if you're that fearful about what you have invested, then you probably have too much invested in this particular security. If you're that afraid of what's going to happen to it. So you need to reassess, maybe you need to take a loss. Hey, at the end of the day, if you're, the way I'm looking at it is if I do end up taking a huge loss on this, it's a big, it's a tax loss too. So it will help even out the rest of my gains for the year. Like I said, if you showed with my AMC, it was like 6% of my position. So it's not, it sucks for me, but it's not my end all be all. I didn't YOLO into, like some people said, that I don't advise you YOLO to anything. That's, I'm not a financial advisor, but that's just common sense advice. Don't YOLO into anything. You don't dump all of your money into your life savings into any particular security. You dollar cost average, you spread your risk around, even if it's spreading around for things just outside the market. Like I'm investing in stocks, I'm in crypto, and I'm in real estate, right? That's three separate, totally different markets that I put my money into because I spread out the risk. And I also believe in all three of those markets. And some of those markets are going to do better at certain times than others. But you don't just put all your eggs in one basket. That's an old saying. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you're YOLO into any of these stocks, whether it be Naked or Bed Bath and Beyond or any of these stocks, Express, it's it's risky. And you're gonna, if you run with the bulls long enough, you're gonna get the horns, and you'll probably get it more often YOLOing than you would using some common sense.
Somebody commented on our YouTube stream there, Mike. Something we had brought up earlier, that the fact that those trade charts are the exact same. Rock bottom at 10:50 a.m. on both stocks.
Yeah.
So I think so that's crazy. You know what this really highlights is there's a lot of well-to-do. I saw the Massachusetts what was he, the Attorney General or the Secretary of whatever the hell. I saw all these people screaming about regulation on behalf of hedge funds. The reality is the regulators and the eyes need to be on hedge funds. Yes. It needs to be on Wall Streets throughout this. We need to have greater scrutiny and more public transparency about what's happening behind the scenes. about parent companies possibly influencing Robinhood because the timing was way too convenient. And if Robinhood is being honest, and they're talking about how the clearinghouse raised their demands in the middle of a trading week, that needs to be investigated. What pushed them to do those sorts of things? Because at the end of the day, you can always control a stock if you simply stop people from buying and only allow them to sell. Especially when you're sending all these talking heads on TV to literally shed tears about billionaires losing money. Because at the end of the day, they have nothing to lose, Mike. They
Yeah.
can go out there and they can lose billions, as we've seen this month, and they're going to get a bailout. They're going to get another chance. They're going to get more house money to come play with. We're the
No,
regular people.
they're too
with money
big to
on the line.
fail.
Too
They're
big
too
to
big
fail.
to fail.
They
How many times
threatened
have we
the
heard that?
entire market last week. They threatened everything, and we saw all stocks in a total pullback. In fact, I've seen the rebound that happened between yesterday and today, and the other stocks credited for finally the end of this so-called Reddit rebellion. So,
Yeah, and like I said, you saw that they were willing on Friday to tank the market, and they blamed it on the Reddit rebellion. They blamed that, saying that everything that happened with all the other stocks was a direct result of this Reddit field rally. It's clear as day that Wall Street, be it the hedge funds, be it the clearinghouses, be it the brokerages, be it the mainstream media, and which, by the way, guys, mainstream media, and this is something that it goes beyond it, even stocks. They're controlled by like a couple companies. All the outlets you see are controlled essentially by a couple companies. So when you see this and they put out in almost an agenda to really FUD something, that's a coordinated attack, right? They don't want the retail investor to have power. Those in power want to stay in power. Those who have that kind of, remember, it's the 1% of people controlling 99% of the wealth, right? And they're using that 99% as leverage to change the rules of the market on the fly. And they're trying to get away with it. But it's so obvious that the manipulation is happening. I think we need to, I think that to me, in order for change to happen, we need to keep going. We need to keep fighting it. We need to kind of start, you got to hold firm, because it's clear as day. You see the coordinated attacks on both GameStop and AMC. There's no way that
there's no way
both
you can
those
look
charts
at that. That's inexplicable.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's no
surprised. That's
way.
the sort of stuff that I expect to see covered on CNBC. Where's
You would think.
Bloomberg? Where's
Yeah.
like, hey guys, this is just a coincidence that exactly at 10:50 a.m. both stocks hit rock bottom. The so-called meme, and I like how the phrasing meme stocks.
Exactly.
Went from
What the hell is a
jokes.
meme
They
stock?
both just so happen to have a matching stock chart that hit rock bottom at 10:50. And in order, again, to move the market that much, that's going to take large institutional amounts of investing. That's a movement from massive companies moving millions of shares.
And and look, I think that there was some truth. I'm not absolving Robinhood for what they did. At worst, it was a PR nightmare. But I think they didn't have the money on hand to when they had to stop trading. I do believe that there was so much volume in the way when you sell a stock or you buy a stock, it has to settle. And Robinhood does a terrible job of displaying this because they make their UI so user friendly, you don't see it. But in Fidelity, if you notice when you trade stuff in Fidelity, they'll talk about settled and unsettled funds. So the unsettled funds, let's say I sell a stock, I sell a share of Apple for 130. I get the money immediately in my account, but it's unsettled. That means that I haven't sold the share yet. They have to push it to the clearinghouse. The transaction takes 2 days to settle, and then it's officially closed out. But until that, your broker is essentially fronting you the money, right? They're fronting you that money, knowing that they'll get it on the back end, but they're fronting you that money. So what happens when people are buying, same thing when you're buying a share, you're saying, I'm buying this, but the broker doesn't really have the share. It has to go through that 2-day trading. So they're still fronting you that share. So when that share price goes up, you actually don't really have it yet, even though you can buy and sell it. It's really not there yet because it needs these 2 days to settle. And you need money when something's very volatile, you need that money to back it up. These exchanges do. Problem with Robinhood, they don't have that money. You didn't see that problem with Fidelity, because Fidelity, that's old money right there. That's an old institution.
Yeah, they
They
got
got the
plenty.
money. Yeah, they don't need to go borrow it from somebody, right?
And no one will even question them if they did. They'll just
Exactly.
accept it.
Yeah. So with Robinhood, there's like new kid on the block. You got to go pony up and get some more money. Now, the problem with Robinhood, there's a couple problems there. One, failure to communicate. They did not communicate that at all. So it
And it
looked
took them too long to get
very,
it out.
very shady. It looked very, like something was going on behind the scenes, and it could have been. And I don't want to misquote the person who said this. I want to say it's Winston Churchill, but it may not have been. But the point was, the quote was, "Don't let a good tragedy go to waste." Right.
Yeah.
So who's to say that Robinhood didn't still say, "Hey, we can't do stocks," and Daddy Citadel came along and say, "Well, good. You know what? Just allow them to sell. Don't allow them to buy." What Robinhood should have done, and all these brokerages should have done, where people couldn't buy and sell, they should have disabled buying and selling for doing both. That way you provide some support to the underlying asset, because underlying security, because now it's not a mass selling coming out of your brokerages because you can't buy or sell, right? They need to stabilize it at their position at their particular brokerage instead of just allowing you to sell. So I believe that they like the saying goes, don't let a good tragedy go to waste. I believe that they did do that, in fact. And I believe that that's what happened. They took this issue and turned it for their advantage. Pretty much giving you unlimited selling pressure and very little people able to buy. And that pretty much that was the start of this great derailment of this Reddit rally. That started it all. And then we saw those buying restrictions keep going all the way on Monday, and we saw it again today. At which point, like I said, is some kind of regulation going to happen? Somebody's going to get involved. I don't know. I really don't. I still think, and you're seeing a lot of conflicting information. You'll see some place that the short interest is closed. You'll see another place that the short interest is still there. You'll see people tell you that, the shorts have to cover by this date. Then you'll see people saying shorts don't have to cover by a specific date. They can have it. They can have that position open as long as they're willing to pay the interest, and the actual owner of the share doesn't call it back. So it's a lot of misinformation flying all over the place. Some of it probably by design. I seen on Reddit that there are a lot of people, they're presenting people without enough karma. That's just meaning that you haven't been active in posting in that community for a while. They're disabling those people from posting because they've seen and they've attributed that people with a brand new account coming in and flooding something or doing something, really trying to distract what they're trying to do overall as a unit. And it's obvious. It's clear as day that there's market manipulation going on. So it's something that we got to keep an eye on. It's something that as we go into tomorrow, I'm really curious of what's going to happen. I honestly don't know. I thought yesterday that AMC would bounce back. It looked like it was trending that way this morning. In pre-market, it got all the way up to I think about $9.
Yeah, it opened at $9.45.
Yeah, and then it just went down. Even although all the signs were showing that the pre-market was pushing it up, there was positive buying volume. It went down, and AMC and GME they follow pretty much the same path, and that, like I said, that doesn't make sense to me. When there's still a lot of people who want to buy, but yet somehow the stock price is going down. One person pointed out, if you look at all of the sell orders, they're in increments of 100. Which kind of goes to show them they were like a millisecond apart, which kind of showed you that it was just a coordinated sell 100, sell 100, sell 100, sell 100. Something that a normal person might have 7 shares or 8 shares or 22 shares or maybe 500 shares or 325 or, some odd number like 17 or, 86, something. It wouldn't be all 100 increments, right? So obviously something's going on. Obviously there's something that we have to pay attention to going forward. I really don't, everybody wants to have a prediction for what's going to happen tomorrow. mean, I don't know. I really don't. I'm hoping, like
We're
everybody
along for the
else,
ride at this point,
yeah,
man.
I'm hoping that it goes up. But like I said, we're in uncharted territory. We are pioneers, Lewis and Clark. We're Sacagawea. We need everybody on board to figure out where we're going because we have no clue what's going on right now. We have no clue how the market's going to react tomorrow. We don't know how long it's going to take before these diamond hands start turning into paper. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting all week, all the way up to Friday closing bell. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, AMC only has it only has so much farther it can fall. It's not going to go to zero, right? Because AMC is not going bankrupt. And the lowest, I believe, Troy, if we look at the yearly chart, I think the lowest it got was like $1.96 at its lowest.
On which one? AMC.
AMC, I think it was like $1.96, somewhere down
Its
there.
52-week low is $1.91.
91, I was close.
Yeah.
But I don't see it, going down to $1.91. Not after they just were able to secure funding, pay off a ton of debt, and ensure that they're going to be open for the rest of the year, where everything is expected the movie theaters open back up. I don't see them, them going nowhere near that level. So I'm with everybody. We're going to watch and see what happens. This is something that's, like I said, this is uncharted territory. So we're going to keep watching. We're going to keep providing our analysis and what we think is going on. There's obviously some manipulation going on, but we're going to find out together. So that's a good thing about this stock. These stocks have a narrative to them. Not every stock has a narrative. If you buy Coca-Cola, that's not buying a narrative. If you buy Walmart, you're not buying a narrative. Maybe if you bought Tesla, you were buying a narrative. That's one of the things that came with a story. These stocks come with a story. It's a story of the underdog story of the average Joe versus the tycoons of Wall Street, and we'll see who wins in the end. And I'm happy to be along for the ride. What about you, Troy?
I am as well. These stocks, and really, we sometimes it sounds so sterile to talk about the stocks, but not talk about the people and the company behind it. Do we ever want to see movie theaters ever again, or do we want to see movie theaters die? That's very much a question when it comes to AMC stock. This movement countering the people deciding to counter the shorts of Wall Street, because Wall Street wants what? The stock to go to zero. They want to pound that stock in submission, which means they want AMC to go bankrupt. They want them to lose everything. They want movie theaters to end. They want these large pieces of real estate to become available. And the people decided that they want to give AMC and GameStop another chance. Hell, GameStop stock will rise if it can just get some actual stock of PS5s and Xbox Series X's. So the people get to decide that, and I think that scares them the most. The idea that the people completely separate from what we're seeing. If we understand their finances bad, but it's completely understandable why their finances are bad. Very few companies went to zero revenue. The restaurant industry was hit very, very hard by the pandemic, but they made adjustments. You have people reductions in capacity, reductions in service. That's one thing, but they're generating some sort of revenue in there. Movie theaters went to zero. People aren't even whole studios aren't even releasing their movies anytime soon in theaters. Once we get the nation vaccinated, we'll see. And the next movie theaters, the next movie filmmakers that decide to actually push that, because there's been some that have been quite vocal about saving the idea of the cinema and saving the cinematic experience.
Yeah.
They don't even. Many spoke out when Warner Brothers made their announcement that they were putting everything on HBO Max. So we the people can decide if AMC will survive this. We the people can decide if GameStop is going to survive this. And GameStop can pivot. GameStop was given a lifeline by Microsoft. You can go in and you can cut a deal almost very much like a cell phone. You can pay monthly and get a next-gen device in your hands. They don't have the stock for it at the moment. But we are the ones who get to decide that. The people get to decide if those companies will save. Hedge funds have bled many American companies enough. And they go in, they find companies when they're very vulnerable. Charles Payne on Fox Business did an excellent conversation about this. but they pound companies to submission. Sometimes they've pounded some of the biggest companies to submission. They did that to GE when they were at one point the largest
Yeah.
company in the world. Punished their stock from about $50 clean into $6. Like, this is what they want to do. They want to feed off of people getting laid off. They wish to feed off of companies going out of business, and that has a detrimental impact on the economy. If anything needs to be looked at, if anything needs to be regulated, the amount a stock can be shorted needs to be regulated. The amount that these hedge funds get to impact with their obvious market manipulation needs to be regulated. The eyes needs to be on them, not the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's frustrating. And you see little rumblings from Capitol Hill about, your congressperson will tweet this, tweet that, but forget all that's tweeting. I need to see some action. Obviously, everybody with two eyes that pay attention to this know that the Wall Street is stacking the chips and manipulating, rigging the game against the retail investor. Well, why? Where's the hearings? I want to see people march down and testifying in front of Congress. We are the constituents. Those handful of people can't outweigh the tens and hundreds of thousands of people, actually probably millions of people at this point that are part of this movement. You represent us, and far too long we know how big money interests is, overtaken, all forms of the government, and that's why we don't see any action with any teeth in it. We need to see what's going on with this. Because you think back to 2008. When they were selling, Wall Street was selling these garbage financial products with these risky speculative securities baked into them. And it caused so much damage. Not one person went to jail for that. People lost their entire pensions, life savings, gone. Not one person went to jail. You know what happened? They got bailed out and they got a chance to start all over again. Now they're richer than ever. And when we finally get away that the average person, average citizen, average world citizen, because this movement is actually worldwide at this point. I've seen people from almost every continent outside of Antarctica that are part of this movement. They're investing in these stocks, because they believe the story. Like I told you, it has a narrative. All these people that they rather satisfy the elites, the fat cats up there in Wall Street, and make sure that their pockets are protected. At some point, this has to come to a head. This is kind of pulling back the covers and showing you that nothing has changed. The billionaires will continue to try to dominate the little guys. They have no morals. They have no scruples. Like you said, they're willing to see businesses fail. They're betting on businesses failing. What kind of, what kind of evil, sick person it takes a bet out on a business failing, seeing AMC go under, seeing GameStop go under, seeing employees lose their jobs. It's really sad to see. And it really shows you that these people up in Wall Street have no morals. Matter of fact, remember, what was it, the owner of the Mets was up there on crying
Steve
about
Cohen, I believe.
Yeah, boo hoo, woe is me. I'm just trying to make you own the Mets. Talking about he's trying to make a living, like he's doing a 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck. Miss me with that BS, man. These dudes, they're so out of touch. They so in their own billionaire bubble. They're trying to figure out how to get, how to buy their next private jet. They're trying to figure out which vacation home they're going to buy next, where. They're trying to figure out which supermodel they're going to take to this place and do that. They're totally out of touch with what's going on down the street. This is a pandemic. People are losing their lives. People have lost their livelihood. The country's torn apart, and they're still all.
He's deleted his.
Oh, he deleted it?
His Twitter.
Yeah, I would imagine he did.
While talking with Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports, he blasted the Mets owner for the restrictions on trading apps such as Robinhood that were hurting the novice investors. And hey Dave, what's your beef with me? He tweeted back, "I'm just trying to make a living, just like you." Was his response, and he was assailed on Twitter, of course.
Yeah, this is more people are suffering and doing worse off on mass than than any time in recent history. It's at this point you would think that the one thing that could really that's really seemed to be a uniting force, one thing that a lot of your average people have been able to get behind. We're talking about people who are not making, they don't have high earning jobs. That they're really living paycheck to paycheck for the most part, and they have a little bit of money they can throw, a dollar in a dream. They're throwing in this, they're trying to be part of this movement.
Don't
And
mean to
there
cut you
we
off.
go.
So now, Steve Cohen's hedge fund is 0.72, which joined with Citadel in investing
Whoa.
2.75 billion in Melvin Capital. So that's why he came out and spoke up in defense,
Wow.
saying that
Okay.
I thought he was just a random billionaire. No, no, no. He's literally just trying to make a living on it. That's jaw dropping. That's haunting.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's balls deep into it, and yeah, wow. So it shows you, how
This
to
man
touch these
owns the
guys up.
Mets. He is has numerous financial firms, including Point 72 Asset Managers. So I wanted to verify that
Yeah,
through Wikipedia.
they
This
bailed out
man has a
Melvin.
net worth of $14 billion, and he's just trying to make a living like me and you, Mike.
He's just
That
trying to
is
scratch out a
chilling.
living.
Yeah, delete your Twitter and don't ever come back, dude. Like,
I mean,
like what makes you? You shouldn't even open your mouth.
that goes to show you. I mean, it's rough. Like I got a friend. He's heavily into crypto, and of course, when all this happened, and he said, "This is exactly why I keep telling you." He always tells me,
We might have to bring him on. On a
"Yeah,
crypto
yeah, we might have to bring him on one
episode.
time." But he always tells me every time we talk about investing, because I'm investing in crypto too, but not as much as he is. He's all in on it. He always tells me every time, F those stocks. Like, you need to stop messing around every single time. He's like, hey, Mike, F those stocks. And as soon as this happened, I could automatically see the grin on his face from ear to ear. Because it's proved his use case. I mean, the game is rigged. They're changing the rules on the fly. They're doing anything it takes to make sure that the average person takes a loss.
Sorry, just saw something else. DraftKings stock jumped as ARK ETF. That's Kathy Wood's ETF.
Yeah.
Remember, I was talking about Kathy Woods and her. I love her ETFs. They added DraftKings shares.
Oh, DraftKings is going to run after that. Kathy Woods, everything she touches turned to gold.
Somebody in our comments section, let me scroll back, mentioned it. Once these stimulus checks hit, talk about DraftKings jumping even higher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, DraftKings up $59. I had a position in that. I ended up selling. I was selling some calls and puts on it, and I'm good to see. I still think I do have a position on that in some of my IRAs. So that's good news. I think DraftKings is scratching because they're not able to operate in all 50
every
states
state,
yet.
yeah.
But when they do, and when sports are back, think about the Olympics coming around. They are going to make some money.
Holy smokes, do they have DraftKings bets on the Olympics?
They are.
Oh my gosh.
They are.
It's coming in gold.
I mean,
I'll take Simone Biles and everything.
so
She's probably gonna be negative 100,000.
Yeah, it's going to be DraftKings is going to be big. This is easily stock that can double once this pandemic's over and all sports open back up. The only thing that's holding them back is right now is regulation and the pandemic, but it's stock prices. I like DraftKings. I also like something called the Golden Nugget, which is another online sports book. They have that. They won't get as big as DraftKings, but they'll have a little bit of the market share. So
I actually was eyeballing some Golden Nugget.
yeah, I think they recently did a acquisition.
I believe that is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Tillman Fertitta's company. Yep, out of Houston, owner of the Houston Rockets.
Yeah. So you're gonna, that those gambling stocks, and to the point that one commenter made, that's STEMI that comes in. I unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, I don't.
Soon we'll
qualify
be getting that STEMI.
Yeah, I don't qualify for the STEMI, so I haven't seen one yet. But
Michael Moneybags, ladies and gentlemen, that's his.
he ain't got a stimmy either. So
Michaal Moneybags, man.
but I guess it's a good thing I haven't gotten a stimmy. But I still would like the money because I already told people if I ever got a stimmy, I'm 100% putting it directly back into the market. I'm putting it back into investments.
And Gold Nugget is owned by Landry's, and of course
Okay.
Landry's president and CEO is Tillman Fertitta,
But that's the good point.
billionaire owner of the Houston Rockets. So.
We might be seeing a lull until that stimmy hits. When that stimmy hits, you're going to see if people pick up where they left off, you could see GameStop and AMC making a run.
Oh, absolutely.
And it depends on how long we're from last update I saw about the stimulus talks. They're trying to have a bipartisan. We're not getting too political, but just to update the last thing, we're having a bipartisan conversation, and essentially they argue what they argue over most of the time. The Republicans wanted. I think it was a $600 billion. That was their counter proposal to Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package, and that's all inclusive of increasing vaccine and some other things tied into it. It's not just the money, but direct checks at people. But they're in negotiations. We'll see what happens, how fast that can get resolved. I do think another stimulus check is coming. I firmly believe that. So that's a good point by that commenter that, hey, we can, that stimmy will definitely get the ball rolling again.
If you want to pivot just slightly, we don't delve too far into politics, but when it involves the money. So Joe Manchin has dealt a blow to the Democrat stimulus plan, and he will not support it without bipartisan agreement. So this is definitely going to slow things. He said Tuesday that he is opposed to passing an economic relief bill without bipartisan agreement. So, we all know that the Senate is now split 50-50. The tie-breaking vote in the Senate is cast by the vice president, which is Kamala Harris. So that means Democrats hold control. Some people are looking for using the reconciliation process, to pass and avoid the filibuster of needing 60 votes. Some want to go nuclear and just eliminate the filibuster altogether. But Joe Manchin is a longtime Democratic senator from West Virginia, very much a Democratic senator in a blue state, and he's able to survive all that time by being quite the conservative Democrat. He is the most conservative Democrat in national politics.
Yeah, I remember I saw something about it. Kamala went to West Virginia and did a wise into your senator helping you get stimmy checks. And he was furious about that. So they're playing a little bit of dirty politics, even within the Democratic Party. But we're not going to get too political, but we are eyeing the stimulus package because it will be a catalyst for investing, particularly into the market, but particularly into probably AMC and GameStop and some of these other popular Reddit stocks. So that stimulus could be on the way, maybe. For all we know, we can see it next month. So hopefully, that's something
hopefully within a month.
So that's something that you should be able to look at, and that's some of the news you got to be aware of outside the market that will drive prices in the market. So we'll see how if and when that comes about. Another thing to look at is if people have tax return. It's tax return season, so people should start getting some returns back from the IRS. And some of that money might make its way into the market as well. I know the IRS said they were going to be delayed a little bit in processing those returns, but I would imagine by the end of March, you'll start seeing some extra cash in some people's pockets, and they might put that into the market as well. So that's something also to be on the lookout for.
Yeah. We had other news today. So it was announced that Jeff Bezos is stepping down as the Amazon CEO. He's not leaving the company totally, though. He'll become the chairman of the board. And
it makes sense.
He's pivoting. Amazon's clearly pivoting a little bit. The CEO of Amazon's Web Services, Andy Jassy, will be taking over as the CEO of Amazon in the third quarter of 2021. And it's clear, I think it shows clearly that Amazon is planning on putting their best foot forward when it comes to their web services. A lot of people don't even know about Amazon Web Services, Mike.
Well, they should. Amazon Web Services is actually the most profitable part of Amazon, believe it or not.
They had a
That
revenue in 2019 of $35 billion.
Yeah, so that pick wasn't by coincidence. I think Jeff Bezos said, I've made so much money that I want to spend some of my free time doing stuff that the second richest man in the world at this point now can do with all that money. I guess he's feeling on the way. I got to figure out how to start spending some of this. So I don't think he's quite the philanthropist as his ex-wife. So I guess he wants to go around and do some crazy exotic stuff with his money, which he's entitled to do. The move doesn't shock me too much. He's definitely going to have an executive chair. He'd be the executive spot on the chair on the board. So he's not like he's saying he's washing his hand clean the company. He's definitely going to be involved. But the day-to-day running of the company as the CEO, he's going to take a step down, and we'll see what that does for the shares of Amazon. Is that going to be positive pressure? People going to be excited about some possibly new things coming?
Jumped. I saw, let's see here, Amazon stock. I saw it definitely hit 3,400 today, and over. So it looks like it's settled down now. But that news and that pivot towards Amazon web-based services, that'll be quite interesting. They obviously aren't going anywhere in their retail market. They're still going to be the giant, utterly dominant in e-commerce, but the pivot to web-based services, if they get dominant in that, they're going to be quite powerful.
I mean, they already are dominant in that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, but here's the thing about Amazon: they're always looking for places where they can expand their business. I'm an Amazon shareholder, so I love to. That's one of the reasons I own their stock, even be it expensive as it is. It's because they're so disruptive. They come with innovative new ways to try to increase their customer base, whether that's commercial or retail, whatever the case may be. They're always looking for a way to increase their customer base. And I think that going forward, as they're building that HQ2, and I believe it's Alexandria or was it Arlington, Virginia. Was the chosen site for their HQ2. They're going to get more heavily involved with government services. I think that's one of the primary reasons. They have huge contracts with government already for their web services. They're probably going to further infiltrate, and that might eat up some of Microsoft's and their cloud-based solutions, eat up some of their shares of government spaces as well. So that's something to keep an eye on moving forward. But it's definitely headlining news. He's pretty much transformed that company from just a bookstore, online book retailer to the giant conglomerate that it is now. Like I say, he's not done with the company. He's not washing his hands up. He's still going to have a senior role on the chair. On the board as a chair. So we'll see what happens with that. That's something to keep an eye on. And one thing I want to talk about real quick, if you didn't have anything right now,
go for it.
Let's look at CCIV.
Oh, yes.
That has taken another big pop.
Our Sunday stream, our pre-market stream, definitely was all in on CCIS. And oh my, is that a 27% gain today? Oh, yes. Let me double check my own.
So I have 100 shares of CCIV, and I sold a call on it. I bought a call and sold a call several weeks back. And CCIV is interesting. At this point, this rise in stock price is purely, and I want to repeat, purely speculative.
Purely speculative.
Because there has been, I had to go and check to see there have been announcements to justify that I was so head deep. The rumor mill is churning. It's just rumors. I was so head deep in AMC today, just researching and looking at that when I popped up and looked at what my other stocks were doing, it was like, what the hell? Did they announce something? Did Lucid officially announce that they're doing the merger? And for those who don't know, Lucid Motors, which is going to be a major, I believe, in my opinion, a major rival to Tesla, is rumored to be doing a reverse merger with CCIV, a SPAC, Special Acquisition Corporation, and that's the way that's the vehicle for Lucid to go public. Of course, shares of CCIV, Churchill Capital, is what it stands for. Um, Churchill Capital Fourth specifically, but that's caused the price of it to spike, and it's all speculation. Neither company, neither Churchill Capital or Lucid have confirmed or denied the strong rumors around whether or not this merger is actually going to happen. This reverse merger is going to happen. But reading the tea leaves and seeing if you look back, Lucid's looking to have somebody with SEC regulations. They open up a job that for going public and handling that transition. They open up a job position, so it shows you they're going public no matter what. But as for CCIV being the vehicle that they use to go public, a executive at Lucid is also a board member at CCIV. So once again, people are just connecting those dots to see, that this is a strong possibility that it could be. There was also I believe, a report. I want to say it was the LA Times, maybe, that has issues linked to two companies. Once again, this is highly speculative. If we're not financial advisors, but I do see CCIV. If this merger is to go through, this stock could, it could double. I see it getting, easily at $50. Well, it won't double now because some of that is already baked into the price right now. But I could easily see it being a $50, $45 stock. I'm holding on to it. We had some people where I'm in me and Troy went in a chat with some friends, some college buddies, investing chat. And they're talking about taking profits at this point. And I can't blame you. If you were in this at $17, around when I got in, and you seeing this kind of a run up, I wouldn't blame you if you took profits. My risk tolerance, obviously, by how I keep buying AMC, is higher than most. So I'm gonna ride it out. I think Troy said you two were going to ride it out.
I'm riding it out until I hear an announcement one way or the other.
Yeah,
I'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, announce it doesn't happen. I'll be ears to the ground for it. I'll be selling the moment I hear that happen, and I'll still have profit at that point. So I have room to fall.
If you can get out in time, you can still make a little bit of profit. And just look at go to Lucid's website, Troy. That their flagship car. What they're doing is they're going to have the same chip stand, and that was all they sold at first. Lucid is going to do something similar, and they're going to release their luxury premium sedan first. They're not going to go and
that bad boy right there, the Lucid Air. Is that what they're calling that thing?
Yeah, the Lucid Air. Yeah,
yep.
And that is
starting at $69.
Gorgeous car.
So
go to their website.
That's starting cheaper than what Tesla did.
Yeah, you're right. And that's base. I'm pretty sure that after they
ain't nothing like that starting from.
Yeah, starting from
max horsepower of 1,080. Oh, we'll see this thing.
500. Here's the key thing: 517 miles per charge. That's awesome. Like I have right now, I have a Ford Raptor, and it has a 38-gallon fuel tank, and that's 500 per fill up. So with that kind of range, it's a contender, and it's a gorgeous car. I think it's a gorgeous car. The Model S designer, the chief engineer for the Model S, went to Lucid. So they're coming from good stock. Right, this car is going to be a contender to Tesla. It's going to slowly start eating at some of Tesla's market share in the U.S. for premium luxury vehicles, and they've already opened up. They just finished construction, I should say, on a factory in Arizona to start pumping these bad boys out. I think the first deliveries they're hoping to get in Q2 of this year, if I remember correctly. You can double check me. I'm going off of memory at this point, but it is a impressive car, and that's why you're seeing CCIV make this run up. And if it does go through, there's way more profit to be made with this SPAC. So that's one thing that caught my eye today. Something else that caught my eye today was how bad NIO did today, and it's head scratching. It really is. Neo was down again for I think the second, maybe third day in a row. Um,
And I found the
it's
article
down.
that you were talking about their factory halfway between Tucson and Phoenix off of Interstate 10.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, yeah. But
Um,
it said Neo. Let's take a look.
Neo's down to $55.77. It's retraced from a few weeks ago. It was up at about 63, $64 a share.
Down
This is
2%.
confusing. This is confusing because they've been on a downward slump, even though nothing but positive news has been coming out about Neo. Stock analysts from all these major companies are raising their target price to the low to mid to upper 70s, even $80 at this point. And you see that they're cranking out. Was it 300 and like almost a 325% year over year increase for deliveries, 352%, excuse me, increase in deliveries for January than it was last year. Um, it makes no sense to me. If I wasn't so heavy in AMC, I would be buying up this. Once again, not financial
Oh, I
advice.
plan
Is
on
what I
I
would
plan on
do.
buying some Neo in the morning
Yeah, but
after
if I
seeing
wasn't
that.
so heavy into AMC and investing in that, and the reason I'm not buying more Neo right now, I bought some in another accounts, but I'm not buying in my Robinhood portfolios because I don't want to. I will have to because I'm not funding that account with my cash anymore. I will have to sell some stuff, and I don't want to sell those things uh,
And is
because
that because you're one of the people who decided to hang the towel up on Robinhood there?
I'm out, man. I'm out on Robinhood. I'm moving
You
my stuff
out.
over to Fidelity. I'm not looking back. I'm moving all my. I took my crypto out of Robinhood, which I shouldn't have had in there to begin with.
I do still have
So
some crypto in Robinhood.
I took that out because that crypto you don't own. You don't have a wallet for it. You don't have an address. If they were to pull
Yeah.
some BS like they did now, and they've had issues all this past week with crypto, people not being able to buy, people not being able to sell,
Yeah, I might
and you
just move
can't do
my
nothing.
crypto in Coinbase.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to just add and just, you have to cash out because you can't transfer it because you actually don't own the crypto. And then, so you take that tax hit because I had a good gain there. And I rebought in Coinbase. And with Coinbase, you have a wallet. And my plan is eventually to get like a Nano Ledger or maybe put in Exodus. Those are two wallets. Exodus can sit on your desktop. The Nano Ledger is cold storage. So
You'll
you
end
can
up like
take
one
that
of those
offline.
poor souls that lost their password and got their,
Here's the thing
250
with
million locked
yeah
up.
yeah here's the thing with crypto. I mean, you could send it to the wrong address, it's gone forever. So it's really one of those things where the onus is on you, which some people like, some people don't. People don't like that onus being on them, they'd rather just leave it on the exchange. So it's all up to you what your tolerance is for that. But I'm done with Robinhood. Not to chase that down the rabbit hole. I'm done with Robinhood. Moving over to Fidelity. That's where I have my other accounts, my IRAs, my HSA. Um, I'm just going to move over there, moving all my investments over there. Robinhood, it's not per se exactly what they did is and what happened. I can understand that they didn't have the cash on hand. That's fine. All right.
They should have came out. That should have been a
Yeah.
cleaner answer to have
Way
immediately, and it
cleaner
took them too
answer.
long to spit it out.
And on that Como
It made them
interview,
sound shadier than they need be.
yeah, you could tell he was lying on the Como. He was flat out lying because first he said it wasn't a cash issue. They weren't cash. Then they said it was SEC regulation for clearinghouse and they needed capital. I was like, I'm not a dumbass. I know if you're saying that you don't have capital means you don't have the cash. Like, I
Exactly.
mean, who does he think we are, right? So him just lying like that and then trying to turn around and send out a email to your inbox talking about we're still for the people. No, you're not. If he had came out straightforward and say, "Hey, we don't have the cash to back these trades," and he has said that we're going to stop buying and selling temporarily until we were working on getting more cash at the moment. We expect to get some in the next 40 hours, whatever the case may be. That would have changed the entire narrative, right? That would change the entire narrative, and also it would change. It would have stopped some people from panic selling, but that didn't happen. They didn't take that approach. And for me, it's like, well, why should I use you as business? Why should I continue to be business with you? Right? I mean, Robinhood is good for what it was. It's a great app. It's very beautiful, intuitive. It's very good for new traders. But at this
I
point,
definitely signed up for my Fidelity, and I was startled by the difference. But I
Yeah,
get used to it.
Fidelity's a lot different. Fidelity's for grown-ups. Robinhood's training wheels. Fidelity, you're getting on
Yeah, I'm
you
no
getting on your
longer
Harley and
a
riding
new
around.
investor. I can't accuse myself of that with the
Yeah,
moves
yeah.
I've made, and
So you need to
so
get on the Harley and ride out. We're taking the training wheels off. So I'm in Fidelity. And for me, I've been trading other stuff in Fidelity for a little while, my IRA. So um, doing this in Fidelity is not it's not going to be the end all be all. I hate the way that Fidelity shows its options chain. That's what blows me because I trade options too. But I'll get used to that too, right? But I'd rather have I haven't had today I haven't had issues with Fidelity um, buying anything or selling anything. They actually have live customer reps when you call. You can't call anybody at Robinhood. You only can send the email, which is frustrating because people have had tons of issues, and that's been a big issue of contention with them that you can't get somebody live on the phone.
yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'd rather go to Fidelity. I feel like it's the big boy product, big boy financial service to go with. They have more of a holistic, look at your financial well-being.
Definitely.
Looking at your net worth and all
If
the
you take a look at what I just pulled up at the side of the peak of the actual Wall Street Bets Reddit, first thing you
what
see
I say.
there, I didn't hear no bell. Yeah, we're
Oh
battered
yeah.
after what we saw these last 2 days.
Yeah, we're taking a brutal pounding. We had to grab our ankles and take it for the past couple, 48 hours. I'm hoping like hell that it'll turn around tomorrow. I'm hoping that we'll see
And I'm not gonna lie to you,
some
full
positive price
disclosure.
pressure.
I'm big on transparency, full disclosure. Me and Mike are both in on the AMC. Man, once we get back north of my break even point, I'm going to be looking for exit. I'm going to be looking for whenever that momentum tapers off. Just me personally.
For me, I'm gonna ride that bull a little longer.
You
If we
ride a
start
little
making
longer.
it, yeah, if we're making it past 10, $11 a
I
grab.
might get some of my shares out
And it's going to be
just to protect my
individualized.
original investment.
It's never wrong to take profits or to
Never
cover your
wrong to
egg.
take profits,
So
guys.
right, that's never, and that's going to be different for every person. But for me, I went in hunting for a big fish. Damn it, I'm gonna be hunting for that big fish. I'm gonna be, hunting for Moby Dick. Uh, you know, I, I'm not, either I'm coming back with a fish or I'm coming back empty-handed. So my goal was to try to really make a good profit off of this. Right now, I'm saying that tomorrow I could change my tune. I could see it drop down to $4, and I'm like, yeah, what the hell, But at this point, for people who are kind of like me, who have a higher cost per share basis, this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you. I'm just throwing out there what I would do, what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on holding. I mean, like I said, if you don't need the money, I think it's better off holding because you know, uh, the price could definitely go back up. It could fall somewhere, but it could definitely go back up. And you just be, you haven't really, in the old adages, you haven't lost until you sold. And that's true. Your count says you're down. You see all the red. You see how much money you lost at the bottom of the screen, but you haven't really lost until you sell, right? Not until you have sold have you really lost any money. Um, so that's what I'm gonna take. I have a, maybe I'm really hoping and I'm really stretching here. I'm hoping that we get up to the 20s. I don't have delusion of grandeur of hitting 100. I mean, it could, but if it got to the 20s, I would consider that a major success. So that's what I'm looking for, and I have to reevaluate like anybody along the way. Do I see that maybe Here's one thing I always wondered. We got all these people and all these different, we'll call them Reddit stocks. What if everybody was to rally behind, let's say, AMC and just dump all their money, sell everything they had, and just dump their money into AMC? Um, what would happen? You know, would that be so much buying pressure that no matter what the game is played, even these short liars that Wall Street was trying to do, the hedge funds were trying to do, to continue to drive down the price of stock, it wouldn't even matter. There'd be so much buying pressure into AMC that it forced it to cover all the shorts. All the shorts will have to hurry up and cover, and will blow past those 15, 20, and $40 gates for all that call volume. I think that would be good, but that would take a massive amount of coordination that I don't think I don't think that that's the, for people to act like the mainstream media will want you to think that, Wall Street Bet is this one united force led by deep effing value, and that,
Deep effing value. What a glorious name. What a
yeah.
legend, by the way.
So they think we're one homogenous group that does whatever he directs, and that we're one army that does. That's far from the truth. There's so many factions within Wall Street Bets. It's really organized chaos, if you will. We know that they want to go after stocks that are heavily shorted, but everybody has an opinion on what stock that should be. GameStop was the granddaddy of them all, but now at this point, it's kind of the wild, wild west. I would still say GameStop is probably the number one trending thing there, but AMC is probably a good second. And then you got a handful of Naked, Bed Bath and Beyond, and all these other things coming up behind it, BlackBerry, things of that such. So, but I always wonder if like everybody was unite, get on page. And this goes to something that I believe Mark Cuban said in his Ask Me Anything. He said that you had a lot of these big talking heads on these financial channels talking about, how is this not illegal? They're colluding. They're trying to get together and change the price. And I was like, all you guys do is have mark people up there on a day-to-day basis, and they predict why they think something's going to go to a certain price. Why is Wall Street Bet anything different? You just have people up there giving their opinion. Maybe some people did a deep analysis and looked at fundamentals, and some people didn't. They just said, I just think this stock's going to happen for X, Y, and Z. It's going to go up, and you guys should join the train. I mean, that's not illegal, and that shouldn't be illegal, right? There's no,
there's nothing illegal about it.
Yeah. So we're in an epic battle at this point with the powers that be that control the media, that control the majority of the market, and we'll see how this plays out. So it's almost addictive just looking at it. Like I can't help but have I'm at work and I just have AMC up in the corner, just the price, and so I can check it every so often just to glance at it, because it's just interesting to me. This is like I said, this is uncharted territory. So but as we're going to go ahead and kind of wind down, close down the stream, we're going to we'll check in with you guys if there's any significant move in the price tomorrow. Maybe we'll do another live stream and talk about that. But we're going to keep our eye on it, right, Troy?
Absolutely, we will. We're going to be watching it. We're riding this wave out. And who am I kidding? I'm going to end up holding the sucker all the way through, man. I keep telling myself that I'm going to do this. But the bottom line is hold. If you take a look at Mark Cuban in his AMA, Reddit AMA, he tells the forum to hold GameStop shares if you can afford to. Recommend holding on AMC. At the moment, those are the two big ones. And if you the Wall Street Bets Reddit's wide open for anybody to take a look at. There's been a lot of accusations of bots and people trying to throw people off of the trail of the two targets, if you will, AMC and GameStop. And we know that there's been market manipulation dealing with the limiting of buying and you can only sell. And we know that both stocks, GameStop and AMC, hit rock bottom at 10:50 a.m. today. So, and that appears to imply institutional pressure. So it'll be interesting to see what this thing does, because the reality is Wall Street's going to make money in either direction on these stocks. They're making money when it goes down. They're making money when it goes up. So it's going to be an interesting thing.
It really is. So one, thank you guys for watching and listening, and we're going to keep our eyes on this. We're going to keep watching to see what happens. We're excited like you guys. We're invested like you guys. This is one thing we are invested into. These securities that we talk about. So we don't talk about things that we don't have some kind of money or stake into. So thanks for watching us. Stay tuned. We hope to put out another video, not necessarily about this, but just some good financial advice video. Even though
be sure to check out our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
that is our bread and butter. There is our heart and soul. Whoops, not that YouTube channel. This YouTube channel. Be sure to check out In the Black. We have lots of episodes. You can pull that right on up on YouTube. Who we are. We talk more about us. We talk about various financial topics. We are not professionals, but we talk about things about life insurance and how that can help build generational wealth. We talk about the power of compound interest when we're using our investments and building money over time. We talk about understanding the stock market, the history of the stock market, mutual funds and index funds. We talk about retirement accounts for those of you who are lucky enough, blessed enough to have jobs, especially with matching retirements, what have you. We discuss all those things. We have a new one coming out soon. Be on the lookout for that one. Savings are for suckers. And we'll break that down in that video. Be sure to follow us on Twitter as well. You can catch me and Mike both tweeting our thoughts on what's going on and any potential tips and things of that nature. And that's all we have for you guys. Be sure to keep your finances in the black.
Peace.